Every day, tons of plastic vanish from sight but not from the planet. Buried in landfills, they silently pollute our soil, water, and air for centuries. This isn't just trash, it's a ticking environmental time bomb. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to stay informed, and let's uncover the long-term damage hiding just beneath the surface. 1. Mountains of plastic buried beneath us. Landfills hold more than 8 billion tons of plastic buried beneath our cities and countryside. Each year, over 300 million tons of plastic waste are added to already overwhelmed landfill zones. Plastic bags, wrappers, containers, toys, and bottles accumulate faster than they decompose. These landfills are expanding daily, growing into artificial hills of non-biodegradable material. Once buried, plastic sits unchanged for centuries, leaching chemicals into the ground below. What appears out of sight is quietly building a long-term threat to land, air, and water. Plastics do not just vanish, they fracture into smaller pieces, forming invisible microplastic waste. 2. Why plastics last forever in landfills. Plastic was designed for durability, which is exactly why it does not break down like organic waste. Items like forks, bags, and toys can remain intact in landfills for up to 500 to 1,000 years. Without sunlight, oxygen, or microbes, plastic remains in stasis unchanged through time. Landfill conditions are cold, dry, and compacted, making degradation even slower than expected. Even compostable plastics may not break down if buried in typical landfill environments. Rather than disappearing, plastics persist and migrate into surrounding ecosystems slowly. The myth that landfills contain waste safely forever ignores the reality of slow chemical leaks. 3. Microplastics in the soil. As plastics break apart in landfills, they fragment into microscopic particles called microplastics. These particles then migrate into surrounding soil, altering its fertility, structure, and biology. Studies now show microplastics disrupting worm activity and reducing crop growth in farmland. As landfill plastic leaks into nearby fields, food production becomes increasingly contaminated. Some particles carry heavy metals and toxic additives that bind with soil nutrients. Plants growing in polluted soil can absorb microplastics into their roots and tissues. This silent contamination enters our food supply starting from land, not just oceans. 4. Leachate, the toxic soup beneath. Landfills produce a liquid called leachate, a highly toxic mixture of water, waste, and chemicals. As rainwater seeps through plastic waste, it pulls out dyes, toxins, and microplastic residues. Leachate pools underground and spreads into surrounding soil, rivers, and drinking water sources. It contains known carcinogens, hormone disruptors, and persistent organic pollutants. Landfills near residential areas risk contaminating wells and aquifers with this chemical soup. Even advanced landfill liners can break or degrade over time, allowing leachate to escape. Monitoring leachate is expensive, and most developing countries lack proper control systems. 5. Methane and fire risks. Though plastic does not biodegrade easily, other landfill waste creates methane as it breaks down. Methane buildup in landfills can ignite and cause fires that smolder for weeks underground. When plastic burns in landfills, it releases dangerous gases like dioxins and volatile chemicals. These fires pollute local air, causing asthma, lung disease, and toxic exposure for communities. Landfill blazes are difficult to control and often reignite due to deep internal heat pockets. Burning plastic creates thick black smoke containing cancer-causing particles and heavy metals. Such fires are more common as landfills grow denser with plastic and mixed waste layers. 6. Wildlife and landfills. Landfills are not sealed systems. Birds, rodents, and animals often scavenge in these toxic zones. Plastic mistaken for food causes internal blockages, poisoning, and starvation in wildlife. Animals get entangled in plastic bags or caught in rings and packaging, leading to injury. Birds use plastic bits to build nests, inadvertently harming their own hatchlings. Landfills located near forests or wetlands become traps for nearby wild populations. Some endangered species now face new threats due to encroaching plastic waste zones. Decomposing waste mixed with plastic draws animals that suffer long-term exposure. 7. Low-income communities bear the burden. Landfills are disproportionately located near poor or marginalized communities worldwide. These neighborhoods suffer the worst of plastic pollution, air contamination, and leachate leaks. Residents report higher health issues including cancer, birth defects, and chronic lung diseases. Plastic waste increases landfill volume, which leads to more frequent overflow and fires. In many cases, communities are not warned about the long-term risks of living near landfills. Children play near or inside landfills, exposed to plastics, toxins, and sharp synthetic debris. Scavengers often rely on plastic collection for survival, risking exposure to deadly substances. 8. False solutions: out of sight, not gone. Landfilling plastic creates the illusion of solving the problem by hiding it underground. Out of sight is not out of impact. Plastic buried today returns through water, air, and food. Burning waste in landfills is promoted as a quick fix, but releases toxic gases and particles. Some industries claim waste to energy as sustainable, despite harmful emissions from plastic. Plastic exports to foreign landfills only shift the burden to nations least equipped to manage it. Recycling rates remain low, and most plastic still ends up in landfills despite consumer effort. Even biodegradable plastics require composting facilities, not landfills, to break down properly. 9. The global landfill crisis. Developed nations generate more waste, but often export it to poorer countries for burial. This creates global trash corridors, where plastic crosses oceans only to be dumped unseen. Asia and Africa now receive much of the West's plastic waste, often illegally or without consent. These imports strain fragile waste systems, leading to open-air dumps and burning practices. Local residents are forced to coexist with waste they never created or benefited from. Plastic waste exported for recycling often ends up in overflowing foreign landfills. Global treaties exist, but enforcement is weak. Plastic continues flowing to the global south. 10. The path forward. We must redesign products and systems that rely on plastics destined for landfills. Governments should invest in circular economies, where waste is minimized and reused. Producers must take responsibility for the end life of their plastic products, not just profit. Consumers must reject single-use plastics and support companies with zero-waste commitments. Composting, bioplastics, and reusable materials can replace plastic in packaging and products. Landfills should be monitored, regulated, and gradually replaced with cleaner solutions. Public education is key. People must understand landfills are not safe plastic storage sites. Plastic bans in shopping, food service, and manufacturing can significantly reduce landfill growth. Activists and scientists are pushing for global plastic treaties that hold polluters accountable. Solving the landfill crisis means facing the truth our convenience has created a buried threat. What we throw away doesn't disappear. It piles up, poisons ecosystems, and threatens future generations. Plastic waste in landfills may be out of sight, but it must not stay out of mind. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more eye-opening insights, and share this with someone who needs to understand the hidden cost of our convenience culture.